Hello to all of you. You have stepped into the world of Lloyd Dollhouse, and today I would like to invite you to join me while we make the last few items needed to complete this room, namely the wall decor or pictures for this bedroom. One of my sisters was nice enough to make these drawings. These are just with color pencils, and today I would like to frame this landscape. I think this will go very well. There's too much pink in this bedroom, so this color will be very nice and it complements the bedspread. I'm going to start by cutting with this graph paper. You don't have to use graph paper. I do it because it's a little bit easier for me. And just cut about one little square around, just one little square bigger than the actual picture. So I figured this would be the size. This would be the size of the frame. Let's get set up. This is a miter box, and this particular one you can cut straight and you can cut 90-degree angles. 90 degrees is what I need today. I have this piece that could be used for crown molding or trim, but it's broken here in the middle. But I think that it could be perfect to use it for this project. And I just would like to make sure that the blade of my saw touches that point where I made the marking with the pencil. Okay, so I'm going, this is the first piece. So this is my second one. Well, it turns out that when I was cutting them, the different plies came apart and these separated. Instead of having parts with this design, then I ended up with this, which is for the picture, I think actually better. Okay, I'm gluing together the 4 pieces to form a rectangle. I'm using the lines of my mat to help me make it straight angle, to make them straight, and I'm going to put it aside. I use carpenter's wood glue, and I'll put it aside while I work on the mat. I'm using my painting pad, and since I already have my template right here, I'm not even going to measure. I'm just going to follow my little template. Just let me see if it fits. It does. If you want to protect the picture, you want it to use something that would do the job of a glass. If you do that, then you're able at any time, if it gets dusty, you can clean it. If you don't put anything to protect your painting, then it's not so easy to clean without damaging it. So I just trimmed a little bit more so that it does not come out of the frame. And the same size is going to be my plastic. I have this paint that I actually bought to use to paint the frame. I can use the container to make my glass. I'm gonna take a little piece of a wet paper towel to make sure there's no fingerprints. It looks clean enough. I would say that the frame is pretty dry. I'm going to turn it, and the first thing that gets glued to the frame is the glass, our little plastic. And this one has to have just a little bit of glue. We don't want this glue to spill onto the, we don't want it to be visible. When I squeeze it, I hope that any excess goes to the outside. Because I don't want to put my fingerprints. Okay, perfect. It did not go inside. So when you turn it, you don't see any of the glue. It's perfectly transparent. The next step is to do the white piece of paper. A very, very thin layer of glue. Also, when you handle the white paper, your fingers have to be very clean. And now I'm going to put my picture. And my picture is just going to have even less glue, just so that it doesn't move around. And I'm going to have to eyeball it right here to make sure that, to center it. I can move it around until it's in the center of the frame. And so now I'm going to have to lay something heavy on top. Let's see, I'm going to put the miter box on top to put a little bit of weight on it so that it can dry. Now while this dries, we're going to look at other options. A couple of weeks ago, we made this picture frame. This is actually a charm, and this is an actual picture. And we put a little piece of wood on the back for the purpose of it standing on its own. So this is one option. Another option is you can make the frame just like we made this frame, and this is just a sticker. This is of course for a different type, for a different style of house. And here's one more option. These are buttons, but this brand of buttons has a lot of things that are very interesting for doll houses. This could be an ornament that goes on the wall. This could be one that you put on top of a table. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if you can see this one well. And then of course you can paint them yourself, like my sister did for me. She painted all of these with color pencils, but some people paint with watercolors and even oil paintings. I have made another one to go on the other side, and I actually decided that it would be better if I painted. I'm going to try this nail polish. This is from the 99-cent store, and see what it looks like. And also the outside of the frame. This is also visible. The only thing that I'm not going to paint is going to be the back. Now I want to tell you also what I did not do right. At first I thought that I wanted to leave it without paint, but I changed my mind. So now it's going to be more difficult because it already has the paint, the drawing inside. So to protect it, I'm going to insert a little piece of paper and try not to use too much paint so it doesn't bleed. So yeah, much easier if you do it before. But sometimes, halfway throughout the project, I change my mind. And this, of course, is going to take a little bit more work, but nothing impossible. The frame is now painted and dry. This is what it looks like. I think it was the right decision to paint them. Now I will install the clear plastic that will be the glass. And without putting my fingerprints on the plastic, and while this is drying, I'm gonna start looking for the picture that will be inside. I found that calendars are a great source because they have beautiful paintings. You can select whatever you like. And then in the back, they have the same thing but in miniature. So we can select something, I think that either the garden, because the area that will be visible through the frame is so small, I decided to select this one because even if it's just a tiny little part, which is this size, it will still look very beautiful. And I'm not going to destroy the rest of them because they could be used for future projects. It would be nice if the entire picture could show, but that would be too big for this bedroom. So if I select the part that has the little house, it probably will not be showing too much of the sky. And of course we have to do the white mat on the back. And I think this is easier than trying to cut the paper to size. And now we have our two beautiful frames to put on either side of the bed. This one was hand painted. This one was the cutout from the calendar. And they're both beautiful in different ways. Now we have to set them up in the bedroom. To hang them on the wall, I'm going to be using double-sided tape. And I am just going to use a very small strip to the back of the painting. When I do this, if I ever change my mind and I want to remove them, I find out that it doesn't damage the wallpaper too much. They're not heavy, so that tiny little piece, this tiny little piece should be sufficient to hold it in place. So this part is actually quite difficult because it's so far back. I am going to be using the post right here as a guide at the end of the post, and then press it a little bit against the wallpaper and it should stay. So now for the other side. The two paintings are up. And one more thing, I'm going to be using the clock that came in this little packet of buttons. And this clock is going to go right above the freestanding mirror. And you know that this clock, the design of it actually matches, it looks like the wallpaper. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is the clock. These are the paintings. And the room is looking pretty well finished. Just one more video next week, which we will be crocheting a piece of garment and some shoes to put on the floor, and then I can move on to the next room. I cannot wait, and I hope that you come with me. And thank you so much for watching, as always, from Dollhouse.